Welcome to orientation. I'm Dr. Burt, and the purpose of this class is to help you understand one thing. How does upper cervical atlas care really work? And it all starts with knowing what health is, because the sad truth is most people were never taught what health is, how their body functions, and how it heals itself. Instead, we were taught from a very young age that medicine heals us. If you get a cold, you need to drink this. If you get a headache, you need to swallow this. But the truth is, your body can heal itself. It already knows how to heal. And never forget the first four letters in the word health. H-E-A-L, heal. Health is your body's ability to heal itself. Now, if your body can heal itself, then why doesn't it at times? Or why does it heal slower at times? And that's what we're going to talk about. But first, let's take a trip down memory lane. You're going to love this. In the beginning, there were two cells, the male cell and the female cell. And when those two cells joined, a bioelectrical infusion of life began. And that was you. And if you watched this process, the cells, they began to multiply and multiply until you looked like this little raspberry. And as you grew, the very first organ of your body was formed, your brain. And as the brain developed, all of a sudden these fibers, they begin to grow downward from your brain. And these fibers, they multiplied until they formed a line. And of course, we call this line your spinal cord. And as your spinal cord developed, we began to see some of these fibers grow outward, which we call your nerves. And then at the end of all your nerves, we start to see the organs begin to form, right? Your thyroid formed, and then your heart formed, and then your lungs, your stomach, the muscles into your arms, hands, legs, and feet started to form. And your entire body was formed from the direct connection from your brain. And then that's the point of it, right? Your brain, spinal cord, and nerves, they act as these highways in which messages are sent to the rest of your body. And so that's how your body was built in the womb and how your body regenerates and heals itself when a problem exists. Now, here's a question for you. How much of that brain's energy power do you want going to your heart? What about your lungs, your neck, and low back? How much of that power do you want getting to the rest of your body? And the answer is, of course, all of it. You want 100% of it. How often? All the time. And that's what health is. 100% energy from the brain powering the entire body through the spinal cord and through your nerves. That's why it's vitally important to keep the highway system from the brain to the rest of the body clear and aligned. All right. So once the soft tissue formed, all right, brain, spinal cord, and nerves, then the hard tissue began to form, starting with your skull. And that's how we know the brain's the most important part of your body, because your brain is more protected than any other part of your body, right? And it's completely surrounded by your skull, massive amount of protection here. Now, some people, they think your heart's more important, but it's not, because your heart, think about it, it only has a few ribs that wrap around to protect it, nowhere near the amount of protection that your brain has. And so we've got the brain protected by the skull, and then we've got the brain stem and spinal cord protected by the vertebra and the spine here. And that's C1, the atlas. And, you know, it's always important to know that the spine had to be segmented, right? It's segmented by discs, right? You can see here, these blue discs here, they are what separate the spine, and it has to be that way so you can move around, right? You want to be able to bend, twist, jump, and those are the shock absorbing discs in between. Now, because the rest of your spine is segmented, that means that these vertebrae can misalign from one another and they can move out of their proper positions. And most commonly from the injuries that we experience throughout our lives, right? The sitting, the bending, the twisting, the lifting, the sports, the car crashes, the driving, picking up the children, all the things we do from birth, kindergarten. They're just all going to cause these vertebrae to shift out of their normal position, which is going to stretch and choke off the nerves that control our every function. And so that's why people get nerve pain. That's why your muscles, they get tight, they compensate for the incorrect misaligned position of the vertebra. And then you get pain and stiffness, and then it cascades and gets worse. Now, sometimes you can feel a misalignment happen. This one's tough to watch. But whether you can feel it like this guy, most of the time, like the whole backward bend scorpion, but most of the time that these misalignments, they're going to occur over time. And so everybody's seen that person at the airport that's walking around all hunchbacked, lopsided, and you think that happened all at once? No, no way. And so the concept is simple. Gravity is crushing us all, and we need to do something about it. And it all starts with the bone that connects the skull with the rest of the spine, the atlas bone, C1, right? Aside from your skull, the atlas bone is the most important part of, not part, but bone in your body, because it surrounds and protects your brainstem, which is your connection between the brain and the spinal cord there. And just imagine this with me for a second here. Now, I assume everybody right now has been on at least one date in their life. And so think back to your very first date, maybe. Now, let's say you probably went out to a nice steak dinner. It was romantic. You went to a movie theater. Titanic was playing or something. And then since that movie was 4 hours long, after that, your partner drove you home. And so you get home, and then they walked you up to your front door. You're staring at each other in the eyes. And at this point, you're feeling pretty good. Now, you could tell they were really wanting to kiss, but easy now. This is the first date. Take it slow. They're just going to go for the cheek. So close their eyes, lean in, and guess what happens? They trip over your shoe, and instead of kissing you here on the cheek, they miss it just by 2 inches and plant one right here just beneath your earlobe. Now, is that the same message? Is it? It's only a difference of 2 inches. No, it's a different message. But why? Why is that a different message? Because your body intuitively knows that the cheek is public and the upper neck is private. And your body will subconsciously protect itself by drawing an emotional reaction when this region of the body is stimulated, whether that's stimulated positively in a romantic sense or stimulated negatively in a guarded sense, right? From a stranger or something. But it gives you an idea of how important the upper neck is. Now, not only is it the most important bone, but it's also the most vulnerable bone, meaning that it gets misaligned and injured more often than any other bone in your entire body. Now, why is the atlas bone so prone to injury? Well, because of its unique shape. Look at it. It looks completely different than all the rest of the neck bones and even spinal bones. And now, why does it have to be different? Well, because of movement. You need to be able to move your head in all sorts of directions. Now, never forget, right? 50% of all head rotation is going to be coming from that atlas bone alone. Now, unfortunately, with all that range of motion, you've got to sacrifice something. And that something is stability, because the muscles and ligaments that control the atlas bone up here, they're very, very small. And now, why does all this matter? And you may be thinking, all right, because right here, when that brainstem gets tension on it, the rest of the body reacts, and it doesn't react favorably. And a good way to illustrate this is this guy right here. Where are my Superman fans at? You remember Christopher Reeve? For those of you that don't know, he was the star actor in the first 4 Superman movies. Great actor. Now, what happened to Christopher Reeve? What happened to him? Unfortunately, A few years after filming Superman 4, he fell off his horse and he shattered his upper cervical vertebra, which left him completely paralyzed from the neck down. And unfortunately, he died 10 years later. Now, why do I share this story? Well, because it directly involves the upper neck and the spinal cord. And so, what you need to understand is whether the atlas dislocates on a major scale or misaligns on a smaller scale. Regardless, you will still see full body effects with both. Now, a misalignment, yes, it's not going to result in full body paralysis, but I'm here to tell you that it will result in full body dysfunction, right? We're seeing brain dysfunction, heart dysfunction, weaker lungs, thyroid, kidney, liver, all the just organs, right? And even the muscles, back pain, neck pain, all these different symptoms that we begin to start labeling people with. And every single part of your body is controlled by your brain, brainstem, and spinal cord. And the only thing that can interrupt this communication highway is when the spine misaligns, starting with that atlas bone right up top there. Now, let me stop sharing here. Now, the critical question people ask is, can this problem be fixed? And I'm here to tell you the answer is yes. That's my job as an atlas specialist, to figure out exactly how that atlas is misaligned and then figure out how to gently realign it. Because why? You deserve that. Heck, I chose to do this and dedicate my life to this because I know how important this is. And because once we can get the pressure off the brainstem, I expect the body knows how to heal itself properly. And we need to heal from our injuries. We want that for ourselves. We need that for our families, our kids, our coworkers, right? We want to live healthier, longer lives. And so Atlas Care is a component of that. Very key component. And that's why every person on the planet should be getting their atlas checked, because why would someone leave their atlas out of alignment? Why would you leave yours out of alignment, right? Exactly, because most people, they have no idea that it's misaligned. And that's why I'm taking the time right now to teach you about it, because I need your help. Too many people, they're out there walking around with a misaligned atlas and they're relying on pills to solve their problem. And I'm here to tell you, pills, no pill, potion, or lotion is ever going to solve this and fix this. In fact, these chemicals that people are swallowing, they actually slow down the healing process, because now your body has to process a bunch of chemicals in addition to coordinate healing to the area. And that's the thing. If people are just interested in treating symptoms, I guarantee you, modern medicine, they've got a drug for it. They've got drugs to wake people up, make people fall asleep. They've got pills to numb your headache just to see it come back the next day, pills to lower blood pressure just to see it rise again, and of course the pills that are going to address all the side effects from all the other pills that people are taking. And so it's really important to understand how your body works and how it heals itself. And hopefully this class helped you do that. My mission, it's a lot bigger than headaches, neck and back pain. And it's all about living longer, healthier lives. And if you've got a better chance of doing that when your brain can clearly communicate with the rest of your body, because that's what it's all about. All right, you take care. Thanks for tuning in.